and I sort of got to experience Amazon's supply chain from behind the scenes. And that was absolutely fascinating, seeing just the size and the scale of things. I mean, I will never forget in Prime Day of 2018, we were receiving 35,000 orders a second worldwide.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that is just a scale. That's
Yes.
a scale that and this is 2018.
Yes.
So
welcome to Strategic Conversation. We host insightful discussions with business leaders. Thank you for joining us today. We are hosting today Dr. Scott Mason, a principal research scientist with Amazon. He was also a professor of supply chain at Clemson University, and we thank him for taking the time to be with us today. We're also joined by Mr. Peter Dill, who is a supply chain leader at Huntsman Corp and is the current president of the Houston chapter of Institute of Supply Chain Management and author of a recent book called Control What You Can. I, of course, am Ravi Kathuria, the president of the Houston Strategy Forum and author of the management leadership book, How Cohesive Is Your Company, and also author of the book, Happy Soul, Hungry Mind. These strategic conversation series is hosted by the Houston Strategy Forum, and today's episode is sponsored by Cohegic, my management consulting and executive coaching firm. Thank you for joining us today, and look forward to a very insightful discussion that Mr. Dill and I will have with Dr. Mason. Dr. Mason, thank you for joining us. We're excited to have you, sir.
thank you for having me. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Sir, would you share with us what your role at Amazon is, and perhaps what attracted you away from academia to go back into the corporate world?
Sure. My career started out in actually semiconductor manufacturing. Then I moved into academia for 20 years. During an academic research period, I did many projects with companies where I would implement models and algorithms to solve real world problems. Well, one of my latest sabbaticals, I actually went to Amazon for a year, lived in Seattle, and I sort of got to experience Amazon's supply chain from behind the scenes. And that was absolutely fascinating, seeing just the size and the scale of things. I mean, I will never forget in Prime Day of 2018, we were receiving 35,000 orders a second worldwide.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that is just a scale. That's
Yes.
a scale that and this is 2018.
Yes.
So, dealing with figuring out, I was working in inventory placement. So I was figuring out as products come in from suppliers, which one of our fulfillment centers, where should we locate the products and in which quantity, betting on which customers were going to order them and with what kind of shipping speed they were going to require. Well, fast forward 3 more years, I'm back at Clemson and COVID has happened. We're teaching online. Education's changing. I'm still working with students, but really having an itch to get back into the real world. And I just happened to place a phone call to a colleague, the power of networking.
Yes.
And he said, Scott, we're actually letting people work remotely in very select instances. You might want to talk to such and such. So I made a phone call. 3 weeks later, I have my job and I'm a principal research scientist. There are a number of us in Amazon, but we're sort of individual contributing thought leaders who work in specific areas to try to advance the company. As before in my sabbatical, I was in inventory placement. Now I'm in a group called Sort Tech Science, where Sort Tech is sort of in the buildings. Once the products have shown up and customers have ordered them, how do we get them out of the building, onto the trucks, onto the airplanes, to you at the customer, at your house, on the time and the delivery that we promise you on the website. So we're very much focusing on cycle time, trying to get things done faster, efficiency, adding robotics and new technology to increase our throughput, how fast we can do things, all in the name of delighting our customer with getting the packages to you when we promise them, when you want them, if not earlier. And part of that as Amazon is moving to our own transportation providing instead of using like UPS and USPS, and we're adding airplanes and many other things,
Yes.
it's just becoming a fascinating space of new buildings, new network designs, and how fast we can do things.